Hey everybody, we're at Coffee with Christ right here in Belleville, and this show is for everybody, but
today we're talking to the men.
Good morning, family. It's time to hit the streets. I've got good news today. It's time to be the change. It's time to stand up, get up, 'cause it's time to get up.
always good to hang out with my friend Pastor Ron Young with Impact Church STL, man. Thanks for joining me.
Man, thank you for having me today.
This is a show, I gotta be honest with you, this is a show that God just kind of laid on my heart. Like, I was at a neighborhood party and I heard one of the women talking about an event at their church for women, a women's get-together, worship night, and they were excited. They had like 200 people show up, plus. And then her husband responded, yeah, we had a men's meeting and only 50 showed up, if that. And then I saw a national news organization run a poll. They were doing a story on the poll of who's your role model. And number one was dads and mom was number two. And coming out of the story, the anchors were like, oh, that's gotta be flipped. No way dad's number one, it's gotta be mom. And just the thought that they couldn't even conceive of the father being the role model, it just concerned me. So this is not coming from a place of perfection, this is coming from a place of flawed flesh myself. But do you see it? Do you see a need in our community for men to step up?
Absolutely, for several reasons, and what we see on a daily basis in a spectrum throughout our communities, whether it's faith-based, whether it's in the homes, whether it's that role and responsibility in the workforce. I think our presence is necessary, and not just to think, it's a divine design that we do take a stand and rightful place and be committed in those areas. And so the lack of that is what we want to address and move forward to progress in.
We make a lot of Ephesians where Paul writes about wives submitting to their husbands, but the first thing, another submission has to take place first. First, those husbands need to be submitted to God.
Yeah.
And they have to be worthy of the honor. If they want to be honored, they have to be worthy of it.
Totally agree. And of course, it doesn't mean that women are subordinate.
Not at all.
But there are functionalities that are different between the man and the woman. And it's a time for us to go back to that divine calling of manhood by which God designs it, for us to really be a staple in our community.
So sometimes we can get stuck in another hood. We get stuck in boyhood before we go to manhood. And there's one group called Man Up STL that is doing an amazing work to make sure that men step up and they show young men what that looks like.
Man Up St. Louis is a mentoring organization. We focus a lot on just the component of life skills, helping along men educationally, spiritually, even financially, just the whole entire component of what it is to being a man, transitioning from boyhood to manhood. There's a quote that I live by: you can give yourself permission to grow and help others grow at the same time. Yeah, I'm growing and I don't always get it right, but that doesn't mean I can't bring you along the journey as well. And Man Talk is an open discussion where we talk about things that men don't like to talk about. The hard stuff, the stuff that's, it comes up and you don't really want to talk about it. Those are the things that we need to talk about to enhance our community. On an average, we'll have anywhere between 50 to 70 guys who come once a month and participate in that community conversation.
Learning that other men have weaknesses like me, that's something that it definitely makes it a lot easier and a lot more helpful to know that, okay, I'm not alone.
It opened up something inside of me that needed to be opened up. It softened me and it allowed me to kind of create this brotherly love that is inviting and that allows me to be able to pour into other younger generations.
We also have a teenage and youth division, which is called Tribe, and we do an outreach effort every month.
They get around the men and they see how we speak to each other, how we dream, how the vision of where we want to take this is. They get this sense of hope.
He's just a great guy. Helps me a lot with school and I have faith in myself. One time I had gotten in trouble, but then the next day I was gonna say something mean to this guy, and then I thought about it. I was like, who cares? It's okay. Be praying for him. That's it.
This is something that is going to break all kind of stereotypes that men have, that black men may have, that young men may have, that any man may have.
We found that a lot of guys were fathers, but they hadn't had fathers. And it's hard to do something that you've never seen done before. We always have people that you can mentor. We always have boys that need encouragement, that need a big brother or a father figure, or who can come and you can pour literally your life story and your life's journey into them, and they absorb it and they listen and they take it in. And the most rewarding feeling is when you've poured out and you can see the results of your pour in someone else.
It's so good to see men coming together like that, to gathering. And I thought one of the interesting things he said was, what we really need is we need more. We need more mentors, because there's more young men that need mentoring, and there's more opportunities for men to model it for other men. And that's so important in our society today.
The mentorship that you just mentioned that's so needed is so important, because we need to see visible models of men. And what does that look like on a godly front? We really need mentoring in that, especially when we live in a culture where it seems to be missing.
And let's be honest, man, it's hard to do something you have not had modeled for you.
Oh man, that's tough, yeah.
If you haven't seen it. And Father Support Center here in St. Louis is trying to do just that. They're trying to help these fathers through a 6-week boot camp on how to step up and be present in their roles as father.
Father Support Center is a fatherhood initiative program that's been going on for over 20 years now, and we're here to help fathers improve their lives and get back into the lives of their children. There's been many stats taken about the difference that it makes for a father being in his children's lives. The outcomes are staggering when they're not. We have a 6-week program. It's 5 days a week, sort of a boot camp mentality. And the first week is personal responsibility. We tell these guys that you got to take personal responsibility in what your part was in whatever situation that you're dealing with. That sets the stage for the next 5 weeks.
I was under the impression there's nothing no one could teach me about being a father, about being a man, and I was wrong.
Within the 6 weeks, it changed me, because it lowered my attitude, it lowered my temper.
And it's a certain energy that can't be explained with having other men around you. That support group. Father support is just that. Fathers supporting one another, challenging me to question myself and my decisions. Question myself in a positive way, like before, my way's not working. Let's look at why that way is not working.
My kids are great. My situations have improved. I learned a lot about communicating with the kid's mother.
Just knowing the power and the impact of my presence alone. And time is important to go and visit your child at school. And once again, you get a loss for words when you start trying to express feelings that you didn't know that was gonna come up.
And it really helps, if you have the willpower, if you have the mind and the initiative to want it. Check the ego at the door, and that's for sure.
Me, myself, personally, not having an involved father means a lot to me that I be involved in my children's lives, that I make a difference. And it's important that you be an involved father, that you be in tune with your child's life. I believe it's what's going to be necessary to take the world in a different direction.
Whether you're raising daughters or sons, the father's role is so important. He's the model for what that daughter looks for in a husband. He's teaching that son how to be a man and how to be a father. What he's modeled for him is probably what he's going to see as the natural inclination for what he should be. And just hearing that some of those fathers, this is the first time that they've really connected with their kids, and the joy that you see on their face and of stepping in. And that's what you were talking about, man. Just step in, right?
Yeah. We've had a discussion, about what stepping in looks like. don't look at the responsibility as fatherhood as something that's overwhelming. We all have work to do, but let's not be discouraged by the responsibility of it, the title of it, what God ordained a father to be. We're feeding our children this model that's so important, that cultivates our future in society, whether it's faith-based or not. We still have an impact. Everyone can't be called a father, but you get to. And so we got to galvanize our men, man. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your religious background is. There's some commonality and common grace by which we can all move forward. Let's galvanize and play the role and be the role who God called us to be.
I love that. Well said, man. Well, and we're just scratching the surface here, guys. We want to just continue the conversation, but stick with us. We got more of the thread coming your way. We're talking to the fellas.
Our first mission is bring glory to God. That's why we're here. We have a talent. It just happens to be banking.
So M1 Bank is banking on a mission fueled by the power of purpose.
It gets a point in your life where you got to live it every day, not just believe it.
I'm believing that this is going to catch on and we're all going to thread up.
For us in our house, this is how we're going to serve the Lord and His purpose. And we're going to do it through the financial institution that happens to be called M1 Bank.
Hey friends, let's be honest. Nobody knows what the future holds, but we all know what we want our future to look like. Lower taxes, guaranteed income, financial stability. Sound pretty good? Now, all you have to do is call an attorney, an insurance agent, a money manager, and a tax advisor. Or you can call the one place that has it all under one roof. Our friends at Circle of Advisors secure us. In 20 years, not a single client has lost even a dime due to market volatility. They've walked with the thread since day one to help secure our future, and they'll do the same for you too. Hey Threadheads, you no doubt know Don Brown.
Don Brown Chevrolet. Don Brown Chevrolet. Don Brown Chevrolet.
And you probably know that Don has a flair for fashion and a knack for cars, but he also has a heart for people.
I learned from my father a long time ago, it's not about one person, it's about the entire community. It is a car business, but it's a people business. It's about the people. It's not about the products, it's about the people.
If you're in the market for a car, come to Don Brown, where it's people over process.
And we're proud to be part of the Thread family, and we'd love to be part of your family.
Hey gang, we're at Coffee with Christ. I'm hanging out with my buddy Ron Young, and we're talking about the men and the fellas. And again, we're just scratching the surface of what it means to step up as a man. And let's address the real elephant in the room is all of this, stepping up as a man, as a father, as a husband. It begins with being submitted first, being under God. And that's the key.
It's amazing, Tim, that we as men love to be followed, but we have a difficult time following, right?
It's true. It's true.
I've always been taught in leadership, before you learn how to lead, you must first learn how to do what? Follow.
Right.
And so if man is in that lead role of leadership, the question becomes, well, who is it that we follow? And for people like you and I, man, we totally believe and submit, and we preach this message because we believe it, that we follow the teachings of Jesus. And He is our role model. I just really believe that we have to make a conscious effort to say, how do I follow Christ? Which in return grows me in leadership as a man.
Which is exactly what our next story is all about. Two men who were looking for a way to do work that was kingdom-oriented, that they could serve the kingdom, and they found it by founding an organization called Righteous Rides.
My best friend since 4th grade, Brett, and I kind of did our careers chasing the almighty dollar. We both moved back to the St. Louis area, and we're talking about what could we do that was kingdom work? What could we do to use some of the talents that God gave us and some of our experiences? We were both car guys, and we had a lot of friends that were missionaries, so we took the car thing and the missionary thing, and we said, well, let's just get a van and loan it to a missionary friend. So we bought a van in December of '06 and told some people, hey, we got a van if any missionaries want it. 2 weeks later, we had a missionary family, and then we got another van and another one, and pretty soon. We got 150 of them, and we've done 20 million miles of missionary furlough transportation. So our mission is to provide care and cars for missionaries in a manner worthy of God. Hey, Davis.
Yes.
I got a new volunteer here today who says he's great with cars.
Tim.
Davis.
Tim.
This is Tim. Tim.
Davis, good to meet you.
Good to
Ready
meet
to go
you.
to work.
I don't have to worry about finding a car, selling it, buying it, finding insurance. All that is just covered. To have everything included and not have to worry about anything is just been amazing.
We have a lot of really great volunteers, and they're guys that they don't want to teach Sunday school class, they don't want to sing in the choir, but you say, hey, come do a brake job, and they're like all over it.
You want to try it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
There you go, buddy.
You know I do.
Go for it.
Is this a right-handed
all the
one?
way off.
I'm left-handed.
It'll
I think
work.
you gave me a right-handed ring.
Just keep
All right.
going there.
Well, I'm telling you, it looks pretty balanced.
Well, we thought it was a car mission, that we were going to make it easier for missionaries that live overseas when they come back to the States to get a car. And then we realized that what they really needed was encouragement, and the car was just, excuse the pun, it was just a vehicle to encourage them. And the volunteers, once they've seen the impact we can have in making their time here in the United States a little bit easier and better, they're sold.
Davis, see this undercarriage? It's going to turn into an under pumpkin after midnight. You can tell by looking at it.
Yeah.
You also got a faulty flux capacitor here.
Okay.
Hear that sound? It's like thumping a watermelon. That's how you know if it's good or not. Yeah, you're dripping blinker fluid here.
Yeah.
That right blinker's not going to work. That's hot. Don't touch that. It's hot too. Don't touch it.
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Missionary kids, that's kind of a tough life. We started putting little backpacks together with their name on it. And we did that, and we find out their gender and their age, and we try to put stuff for them to do in the van, and then we put it in the seat, so when they get in the van, hey, that's my seat. Oh, this is mine.
We have the embroideries put blankets on there with their last name, and sometimes you'll see those mamas just love on those blankets and just cry because someone cared for them personally.
Thank you so much for all the little gifts, for all the little hand stitching, for everything that you do for my girls. They have just loved it.
It's an opportunity as a Christian to serve right here in small town Missouri and make an impact all around the world.
Is that pretty amazing?
Man, that is amazing, man.
It's so cool. And listen to this. They've covered my 20 million miles in 12 years. They've served missionaries from 125 different countries, and all through stepping into the service of the thing that they know, cars.
Wow.
You know, and that's being submitted to God.
Absolutely.
And when they were submitted under Him, then they were able to let Him lead them out into a way that was kingdom-oriented.
And that's what we learned from the book of Acts, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that stand out is that they had all things in common. What does that mean? It means that the rich give goods, to serve the poor, and everyone comes into this reality that we can't do this by ourselves, and we need the help of each other. Absolutely. And no one man is greater than the next, and when we can come together on one accord and be united to serve the common purpose, man, I just think that is amazing that they will pull their resources together. Just imagine what would happen, man, if we all did that. And if we did that as men, wouldn't that be something powerful?
If we threaded up?
Yeah, man.
See what we did right there?
I love it.
Stick around, we got more coming your way. Right here on The Thread.
Black Friday starts at 7 a.m. at Stash Home. The first 50 people will receive a free live Christmas wreath, plus 20% off all day. The Black Friday savings begins 7 a.m. at Stash Home.
Hey, Threadheads, you're used to hearing me blah, blah, blah talk all the time on this show. Well, now it's time to hear from you. This is our last show until our Christmas show on December 21st, but we're going to keep the conversation going on Facebook. So if you've got questions, we got a new segment called Ask Tim, where we're going to answer your questions as best we can. So message us on Facebook if you've got a question about anything, about something we featured on the show, about scripture we've shared. Hey, and we're going to answer it right here on Facebook. So Keep the conversation going. It's time to thread up, y'all.
Black Friday starts at 7 a.m. at Stash Home. This pure Italian leather sofa is just $7.99 until they're gone. This slipcover sofa with feather down cushions, now just $5.99. Save $400. The Black Friday savings begin 7 a.m. at Stash Home.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Tim. You ready to meet this week's USA Mortgage Changemaker?
You know I am.
Come on.
All right, Nancy, tell me how you're changing your community.
I am working with 5 Acres Animal Shelter. I was asked to join the board really just to help with fundraising and their big events that they have.
What drew you to 5 Acres? What made that a perfect fit for you?
Oh, I'm an animal lover. Have been since birth, and we're the only no-kill shelter in St. Charles County. We have a thing called Animeals, which is a food pantry for animals, and it helps, low-income families or people to keep their pets at home, and something like that I was really drawn to.
Why is it important for people to find that perfect place for themselves to invest in community?
I think it just gives them a purpose. Doing something for someone else, I love my job at USA Mortgage, and I love helping people, but I also love helping animals.
Wow, Kelly, another great story.
Absolutely. There'll be another one next episode.
Until then, you find your unique way to become a change maker. Welcome back to The Thread. I'm with Pastor Ron Young. We're at Coffee with Christ in Belleville, and we've been talking about men stepping up and the need for that in our culture. And we don't want to come across as heavy-handed here, because we serve a God who is very benevolent and loving and patient with us.
Absolutely.
We don't get it right all the time, and it's never too late for men to step up. If you think you've blown it and you think you've gone too far down the wrong road, it's never too late.
It's not. Short end of a long story, you see where Jesus talks about a generous landowner. Some went to work in the morning, some at noon, and some an hour before the close of day, but the landowner paid equally. And so it's not too late, because God's grace is so good.
Amen.
That he's kind. So it doesn't matter whether someone is in prison, coming out of prison, have made mistakes in their life and fatherhood, had a child out of wedlock and just getting with a child late in life. There's always time if God keeps giving you breath in your body.
If it could have been blown, I'd have blown it a long time ago.
I would have too, man. Absolutely.
But thankfully, this ministry demonstrates that that's just not the case. It's Criminal Justice Ministries, and it's never too late.
We have the highest incarceration rate out of any country in the world. 25% of the people who are incarcerated in the world are here in the United States. For a lot of us, if we went inside, we would come out and we would have a support system. Myself, I have education, I have family, I have all these things. But we work with the 20% of individuals coming out that don't have that.
I didn't plan on staying out. And it's not that I didn't want to, but I know me and I know my track record.
Once we get out, and the first thing we do is go back to the old way of living,
I'd love to tell you we have this magic potion, but it's really us being there, being connected with them, and treating them like human beings, and wanting them to find rehabilitation and redemption as they come out.
What are some of those the biggest barriers?
So the biggest barriers we find is housing, number one.
I can't focus on recovery. I can't focus on getting a job. I can't focus on going to school. My mind is centered around where am I going to stay tonight.
So we help get them some housing, help pay for some of that housing, and then slowly transition them so they can be self-sustaining. We know that by doing this support, by creating this system, that they actually are going to stay out.
So for me to be able to give back what was given to me, what God said, I'm the prodigal son. I got to come home.
And I get to show them that there's hope, there's a way out. You don't have to go back. There's a life out here, and it's totally worth living.
Where would you be if it wasn't for CJM?
In 3 places, I could be homeless in the Department of Corrections or dead.
I would like to think that I would still be alive and free. I can't. I can tell you that, though. Left up to me, none of this stuff happens. I don't get any of this. My family doesn't get me, left up to me and my own thoughts, ideas, and plans.
But I'm here through the grace of God, and I know it. His grace and mercy saved me, and I thank him every day for that.
I love that ministry. And did you catch what he said right there? I'm here simply by the grace of God. Aren't we all? I mean, if it was possible to blow it with God, I'd have blown it a long time ago. But it's never too late. It's never too late for us to reconnect with the Father. It wasn't too late for the thief on the cross, hanging next to Jesus, when Jesus told him, I tell you today, you'll be with me in paradise. It's never too late for us to reconnect with him. That's who we were created to be in relationship with the Father. Psalm 25 says this, it says, "Who is the man that fears the Lord? Him will he instruct in the ways that he should choose. His soul shall abide in well-being. His offspring shall inherit the land. Friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him." Now, fear doesn't mean being afraid of God. He doesn't want us to be afraid of him, but he wants us to be in relationship with him. And he wants us to revere him, to honor him, and to recognize him as Lord of our life. That he is our creator, and he's created us to be in relationship under him. And he'll lead us out. He'll guide us our steps, and he'll show us our paths, and they're better than any paths we can lay out on our own. And even when we slip, stumble, and fall, he just says, come on back. Come on back to the Father. Return to who you were meant to be, which is with me. We're reaching the end of this first half of our season here in season 4, so we're going to be off television for a while, but we're not going anywhere. We're not leaving you. We're going to be mightily present on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube. We want to have regular touch points with you throughout the week through our social media, so please stay connected with us. And I really want to send a special thank you out to Pastor Ron. Brother, man, thank you for your ministry. Thank you for your friendship. Love you much, man. Thank you. We'll keep the conversation going. And that means you too. We want to keep the conversation going. There's going to be opportunities for you to connect with us to connect with you. So keep up with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's not over. It's still going on, baby. It's time to thread up, y'all. Have a great one.
Spot Media Production Group.